Hello everyone, welcome back to Citizens TV over here on Redmen TV to give you Manchester City's strengths and weaknesses ahead of our game at Anfield on New Year's Eve. And without further ado, let's get straight into it. So, starting off with the strengths. Going forward, particularly creative options. Manchester City, we're a team that are absolutely packed with creative players, with really goal potential, if that makes sense. We have some great strikers and great finishers in Nolito, Yaya Toure, Kelechi Iheanacho, Sergio Aguero. We have some great finishers in that team, but we also have some excellent creators as well. For example, Raheem Sterling. Kevin De Bruyne, before you say Sterling's a £50 million flop, by the way. David Silva as well, Nolito as well is not only a good goal scorer, a great creator as well. Sometimes Jesus Navas if he's playing well, but we are packed to the brim with creative players. And they're players that can really pick the lock of pretty much any defence. And it means we do have several different ways to score a goal. We can play it around in the area, we can play it down the flanks and put a cross in, we can just shoot from range. And it really does benefit a side to not just be one-dimensional, to have several different dimensions and ways that we can score goals and attack the opposition. Which also leads on to the next strength, well, goal scorers really. Not just Kelechi Iheanacho and Sergio Aguero. Kelechi Iheanacho, of course, has the best goals per minute ratio in the Premier League, 96.5 minutes per goal, 96.5 minutes per goal. Albeit, he's not a regular starter. Sergio Aguero, I believe it's 110 minutes per goal, another one of the best goals per minute ratios in the Premier League, a world-class striker. We've also, not only just the strikers, we've also got other players that can score a lot of goals. As I already said, Nolito, an excellent finisher, a real predatory instinct. Yaya Toure as well. We all know he's a great goal-scoring midfielder. Kevin De Bruyne, David Silva chips in with a few as well. So we're not just a team that the strikers score goals. We're a team where midfielders, wingers, wide players, even, we've got defenders that can score quite a few goals as well, if they were ever fully fit. Yeah, I'm talking about you, Vincent Kompany. Also, moving on to another strength, passing and keeping hold of the ball. Even before Pep Guardiola came in, we were very much a possession-focused side, and we are able to really win a lot of midfield battles, and that's going to be a very important thing in Saturday's game. Personally, I think Liverpool probably going to play us on the break, and I do watch a lot of the Bundesliga, so I feel like I know how this game's going to pan out. But yeah, you can watch the preview on our channel if you want to know about that. But yeah, particularly in terms of keeping hold of the ball and passing it around, our possession stats this season have been very high, regularly over 60%. And of course, possession doesn't win matches, but it helps when you have more of the ball because, of course, it means you're more likely to create a goal-scoring chance, and which more chances leads to more likely being goals. However, in saying that, we aren't the best at putting them away, but the final strength I'm going to talk about is creating chances, and that links into the creativity. But we do create a lot of chances every game. We're very much a side that we do get a lot of shots in. We do get lots of them in from different angles. We get lots of chances being created for our forwards, and we are an excellent creative side, as I already said. Looking at the weaknesses, though, we aren't a very clinical side, and that's something that has to improve. What I like to look at it with our attack, I personally see it as Pellegrini-isms in the attack. And by that I mean, in our system, Pep Guardiola likes to have the attackers be creative, they can be fluid, they can kind of do what they want, really. Unfortunately, though, given the fact that we've been under Pellegrini for so long, and especially towards the end of last season, and in fact in the entirety of last season, you can see it was stagnant, it was stale, it was the exact same thing. And I still think the team are working on trying to not dawdle as much when they have the ball, but we are quite wasteful in a lot of games, and we saw that plenty of times this season, where we've dominated teams, but due to our inability to convert chances, we have drop points in games that we should have won, against Middlesbrough, against Everton, against Chelsea as well. Games we should have won but didn't because we couldn't put away our chances. Another weakness, the obvious weakness, is our defence. Like Liverpool, we are not a great defensive side. That is mainly through at the moment with the system. Under Pellegrini, though, last season we actually conceded 40 or more league goals for the first time in 6 years. That was when Roberto Mancini came in midway through the season. That was the first time in 6 years we conceded 6 or more. Or sorry, we conceded not 6 or more. We conceded 40 or more league goals in a season. So yeah, defensively we have gotten steadily worse over the years. However, in the system, it doesn't help that this is a system that's going to take time to adapt. And unfortunately, we are going to have to look at the short-term consequences of this. Will be vastly outweighed by the long-term benefits. Speaking of the high line as well, defending counter-attacks, that's probably our defence's biggest weakness. In terms of pressing, actually, I know, of course, Liverpool excellent with the gegenpressing. That down to a T now. I'm very confident about being able to pass around that. Looking at our defence, we've come up against some very good pressing sides. Not as good as Liverpool, I'd say, but when we're passing the ball around our defence and we're passing it around, we don't seem too phased by pressing sides. Certainly, we look as though we're coping a lot better with energetic sides in midfield, a lot more than last season. When, of course, we were ripped apart at home and away by you guys last season. And there's times against West Ham last season, I was thinking as well, away from home. Tottenham, where we were ripped apart by energetic midfields, and particularly midfield, but also just energetic teams altogether that press us and harry us. We are coping with that a lot better now. But on the counter-attacks, our defence in general, it's not a quick defence. John Stones is probably the quickest player in that defence in terms of centre-backs. And even then, he's probably above average for a central defender. In terms of full-backs, probably Gael Clichy, but he's steadily getting worse in terms of his physical prowess. Let's put it like that. And he's had a pretty poor season as well. So particularly defending counter-attacks. We saw it against Chelsea. We've seen it against Everton. We've seen it against Middlesbrough. We are dreadful at defending counter-attacks. That's definitely our defence's worst. That's definitely the worst scenario for our defence to be in. And going up against the Liverpool side with Mane, with Sturridge, even Firmino as well, very quick players. That does worry me. And also players that are in really good form at the moment. And Liverpool, of course, you're a great side going forward as well. So that does worry me a lot. To be honest, and the final two weaknesses, wing backs the full backs, they don't fit into our system very well, and that's mainly because of age. All of our full backs now are 30 or more years old, and they're all in their 30s now, and that really doesn't help. Physically, they're not really cut out for this system, particularly our right backs, Bakary Sagna and Pablo Zabaleta. I believe they're 32 and 33, or maybe 34 in Sagna's case, respectively. So they're pretty old, and that really is their games are having to be managed, and we're having to rotate them. And you can definitely tell that we do need to invest in fullbacks in the future. And we saw that against Tottenham. That after a while, our fullbacks they got tired, and they can't really keep up with this system for a continued length of games. For example, Zabaleta, he can't really play more than 2 or 3 games in a row without needing a rest, which is a shame, and that's mainly because of his injuries. Last season wasn't really given the proper time to recover by Pellegrini, and no players were really last season under Pellegrini, and that really took its toll in the end on Zabaleta. He has improved this season, and he's gotten better as the season's gone on. However, you can tell he's not the player that he used to be. I'm looking at as well, Kolarov being moved more to a central role, and Clichy's had a very poor season. Particularly recently, his performances have been very subpar. I'm moving on to the final weakness, Claudio Bravo. I really like Claudio Bravo, I really do. But it's not easy to defend him at the moment, and it hasn't been easy ever since he arrived. Was always going to come in at an automatic disadvantage, considering that he was replacing Joe Hart. And Joe Hart's a club legend, so it was always going to be difficult. However, as soon as he dropped that cross for Ibrahimovic's goal in the derby against United, from then on in, he was always up against it. He regularly looks pretty poor in terms of... It's not really distribution. There, he's fantastic. When he's getting pressed, he looks absolutely calm as you like, and he's fantastic. It's really pretty basic goalkeeping that he's poor at. One-on-ones, he's not looked good there. In terms of crossing, he's looked he's looked dodgy. That's mainly due to his height, I would say. Because you look at him in terms of goalkeepers, he's a fairly short goalkeeper. He's only about 6'1". So he's a fairly short goalkeeper, and that is something that I really hope Bravo has a good game. And of course, he's kept 2 clean sheets in his last 3 games, albeit those clean sheets were against Watford and Hull, not exactly the toughest of opposition. However, it's a good confidence builder for him. And I'm hoping that he has a good game because he's really going to need it. That our defence is really, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Our defence is poor, and we're going to need Claudio Bravo to have a good game. But yeah, that pretty much sums up the strengths and weaknesses of Manchester City in a basic nutshell. I could go on for ages about this, but you all have other things to be doing. You probably don't want to see me. You want to see Chris Pajak, don't you? You want to see Chris Pajak and his beautiful face, his beautiful Scouse face. But yeah, thanks for watching this video. So don't forget to subscribe to Redmen TV. Every subscription and like on this video, £1 goes to the fund for the Chris Pajak 2017 calendar. We've got to make this happen. But yeah, thanks for watching. If you like this video, you want to check us out, Citizens TV. Probably be a link in the description. I hope there will be. But yeah, we're just a Manchester City fans channel. Basically, it's not really it's nothing fancy. It's basically me with some City shirts behind me, trying to be as honest as I can about in terms of my opinion of the club. So if you're interested in that, then don't forget to check us out. And yeah, thanks for watching. And as always, come on, City.